Okay, let's look at this question here. We want to factor this one out. Well, again, it is easy for us to rewrite z squared is z times z. And 4 can be split into 4 times 1. 4 can also be split into -2 times -2. But you know, when you add -2 and -2, you won't get, you get -4. So this one, we may just put right here. Okay. But if you put 2 and 2 here, it's not going to work. Okay, because again, when you do the FOIL method, the inner product -2z, outer product -2z, so add up together is -4z. But this one, 2z, 2z positive, you end up with 4z positive. So this would be our choice. Then you see z minus 2, z minus 2 is actually z minus 2 squared. This is a complete square. Complete square. Okay. All right. Now, about this one. You see, why do we need to learn factoring? The reason is we want to do is solve the equation. You see, if we have a, let's say, 3 times a variable, we like to use x equals 0. And this one must be 0. If this one is not 0, 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times -100, you won't get 0. So this one has to be 0. Okay. Another way of thinking about this is both sides divided by 3. So you have here is 1. 1 times x is x, and here gives you 0. 0 times 3 is 0. So x is 0. For the factoring, when you have a x minus 9 times x plus 5, this is one factor times another, then either x minus 9 is 0 or x plus 5 is 0. 2 possibilities. Okay. If x minus 9 is 0, you add 9 on both sides, cancel this one, positive, negative. What you get is x equals 0 plus 9, which is 9. So when you plug in here, you have a 9 minus 9 is 0. The first quantity is 0 already. Then 9 plus 5 is 14. That's fine, because 14 times 0 is 0. So this will be one of our solution, which is positive 9. Here was negative 9. So you only have a positive 9, subtract positive 9, you get 0. So 1 here is negative. You should have a positive solution. And here, you subtract 5 on both sides. You cancel positive, negative. You get it out will be x on the left alone because positive, negative canceled. Right-hand side is 0 plus negative 5. You have a negative 5. So when here is positive, here will be negative because negative 5 plus positive 5 is 0. Now already here is 0. It doesn't matter what you end up here because here is 0, then fine. Here is not 0, it's also fine because no 0 times a 0 number, you get 0. So in this way, we have two solutions, which will be the second one. Negative 5, positive 9, which is opposite because you want to do the subtraction here. And here is negative 5 plus positive. So that's the second one. Second option right here. Now, here probably is even easier. You see question 23. You have one factor times 6x plus 24 is 0. Then you have either this factor is 0 or 6x plus 24 is 0. You have two possibilities. So which one then? Now, the first one, we already have the answer. That's the first case. Second one, this one possibly is 0. Then you subtract 24 on both sides. So you have a 6x equals negative 24. 0 plus negative 24 is negative 24. You divide each side by 6 to end up with x on the left. And here is negative 4. So you have either x is 0 or x is negative 4. Okay. Again, you plug in 0 here. You should have a 0. Then whatever here it end up with, it doesn't matter because 0 times any number is 0. Now, how about here? When you plug in negative 4 here, this number, you get 0 for the whole expression. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. So, plus positive 24, you get 0. And then 0, this big quantity is 0 times negative 4 because x here is negative 4 now. So 0 times negative 4 is 0. So you end up with two solutions. One is x is 0. Another is x equals negative 24. And that will be our second option here, second choice. 0, negative 24. Okay. So let's look at this one. This one is question 24. Here, when we do the factoring, we want to take this number to the left-hand side. To the left-hand side. And then this will make our right-hand side be 0. So you do is subtract 30 on both sides. Then you cancel this positive. Make the right-hand side be 0. Left-hand side, you have x squared minus 30. x squared minus x minus 30 is 0. Let me write 1 in front of x. Again, here, you want to factor this one. That's why we need to learn the factoring. Again, this is trinomial, so x squared can be split as x times x. And how to split negative 30? You want to split into 5 times 6. But you know, here has to be negative. So this 6 needs to be negative, and 5 needs to be positive, because when you add negative 6 and positive 5, you shall get what? Negative 1. So 30 is actually should be split into this way, and then you get 0. Here was the equation. And then, as previously we mentioned, like here, if you have a minus 9, you should have a positive solution. If you have a plus 5, you should have a negative solution, negative 5. Okay? So here is the same thing. In more detail, you should have a what? Plus 5 is 0. X minus 6 is 0. And then you do is minus 5 on both sides. Here plus 6 on both sides. This one you end up with x equals negative 5. See again, negative, positive. And then here you end up with x is 6 because those two was cancelled. So again, here is positive. Here was what? So there are two solutions. Negative 5, positive 6, which is the third choice right here. All right. Now, look at this. This one is the last one, which is question 25. 25. Okay. There are a few ways to start with, but let's start with the easy way. Let me copy the question right here. 5x squared minus 35x plus 60 is 0. I like to do is I want to divide every term by 5, including this one, everywhere. So then it makes the first term is x squared because 5 divided by 5 is 1. The second term is 7x. The third one is 12. 0 divided by 5 is 0. Now we got to factor this one, right? Okay, now you see how we are going to split this 12. That's the issue now. Well, here is negative, so we may split 12 into two negatives. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. And then when you add those two numbers together, you have a negative 7. So this will be the correct way to split 12. So then you have x minus 3, x minus 4 is 0. So you have possibly x is minus 3 is 0, or x minus 4 is 0. and the rest of them will be the regular routine job plus 3 on both sides plus 4 on both sides. Here you then end up with x equals 3, because again those two are cancelled. X stands alone on the left. 0 plus 3 is 0. Similarly here you get x is 4. So 3, 4, that will be our first choice. Okay. Again, you can plug in 3 to check. You will get this whole polynomial 0. Okay? All right. I'll stop here and see you next time.